So in the first video, you learned about function composition, how to take one function and place it inside of another. So if it says f of g, that means you put g inside of f. If it said g of h, that means you put h inside of g. If it said do h of f, that means you do f and put it inside of g. So we learned how to do that in the first video. In this video, we're going to learn how to take specific numbers and substitute it into our equations. We're still doing function composition, except for this time we're going to be getting a number back. So let's start with number 1. So this means f of g of 1. So f of g of 1. We're going to take the number 1, substitute that into g. Then we're going to take that number and substitute it into f. So we're working inside out. Take the number 1, substitute that into g, and then take that number and substitute it into f. So let's start with 1. We're going to take the number 1 and we're going to substitute it into this function right here. So this function is x plus 4. We're going to get rid of x and we're going to plug in the number 1. So that's going to be 1, and sorry about that. That's going to be 1 plus 4. So I took the number 1 and I'm substituting it into my g function. So I no longer have this x. I replaced it with the number 1. And we know 1 plus 4 is 5. Now take the number 5 and plug it into f. So take this number 5 and plug it into my f function up here. This is f, this is g, this is h. So 5 is going to go in place there. So that's going to be 5 times 3. And either calculator or mental math, you should get 15 for number 1. So again, this meant to take the number 1, substitute it into g, and then take that number and substitute it into f. Let's try some more. This means this is g of h of 0. We're going to take 0, substitute it into h, and then take that number and substitute it into g. So we're going to take 0 and substitute it into this equation right here. We no longer have x, so we're replacing x with the number 0. Calculator mental math, this is going to give you -1. Now take -1 and substitute it into g. So this is what g is equal to right here, x plus 4. So we're going to be doing -1 plus 4. So we no longer have this x. We got rid of it. We replaced it with the number 1. So our final answer here should be 3. Number 3, g of f of -1. We're going to take -1, substitute it into f, take that number, substitute it into g. So -1 is going to go in for f. It's going to go in right there. So we know this gives us -3. Now take -3 and substitute it into g. G is x plus 4. So it's going to be -3 plus 4. We add this together, we get 1 as our final answer. So for all of these, we'll be getting numbers back, which is fine. Number 4, take 5 and substitute it into f, and then take that number and substitute it into h. So if I take the number 5 and substitute it into f up here, and the more of these you do, you won't have to do this first initial step that I do. I'm just showing you that I'm using the f function, which is 3 times x. Now take 15 and substitute it into h. So it's going to be 15 squared minus 1. Calculator mental math, we should get 224. Okay. A couple more that we'll take a look at. G of h of -3. Take -3, substitute it into h, and then take that number and substitute it into g. So -3 into h. Okay, -3 times -3 is a +9, so be careful with your signs there. So I have 8 so far. Take 8 and substitute it into g. G is x plus 4, and we should get 12. And last but not least, h of f of 10. Take 10 and substitute it into f. So that is going to look like f is 3x up there at the top. Okay, so this gives us 30. Take 30 and substitute it into h, which is x squared minus 1. So this time it's going to be 30 squared minus 1. And calculator, probably definitely for this problem, to use your calculator, and you should get 899. So this is us doing function compositions, but we're evaluating our function composition.